Yo, welcome to Brooklyn, baby. County of Kings, home of the Nets. When you cross that bridge, you don't just enter a new zip code, man, you take on a new mindset. It's always us versus them. If one falls, we all get up. We grind till we shine, then polish some more. This is a place where game recognizes game. Brooklyn, we go hard.
Brooklyn Nets partial plans are available now. Call 718-NETS-TIX or visit brooklynnets.com and secure your seats today.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio. That's 98.7 FM New York City. That's 710 ESPN LA, and of course nationwide over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, Sirius XM. Channel 80. Excuse the pause and the delay or whatever. It was technical difficulty. I was hearing the echo in my ear and what have you, but that has been resolved by the magicians behind the board and the technical experts here at ESPN Radio. The number to call up, as always, is 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. That's 866 Say ESPN. Lots of stuff to get into today. I'm still in Los Angeles, California, where I was last night, having to attend the Lakers home opener against the Los Angeles Clippers, where the Lakers got shellacked and Lonzo Ball looked pretty bad as far as I'm concerned. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Week 7 of the NFL season is upon us. Oakland Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs last night. We'll talk about all of that as the show progresses today. But we got to lead the show off with some baseball, man. And it's not just because the Yankees are about to go to the World Series, because they're going to handle their business tonight against the great Justin Verlander and the Houston Astros. But it's also because the team that's awaiting them, the New York Yankees, yes, I'm prognosticating, yes, I'm predicting that the Yankees will close this series out tonight in Houston. They ain't going 7 games. They will figure out Verlander. They will stop him. They will find something to address the powers of Kate Upton. And they will figure out a way to neutralize this man and get him up out of there so they can get to Houston's bullpen, smack them out of there, and then after that, take on the Dodgers. Because the Dodgers is the team that awaits them. As I predicted, by the way, the Los Angeles Dodgers, courtesy of an 11-1 victory at Wrigley Field last night, because Enrique Hernandez smacked 3 home runs, including a third-inning grand slam. This man and what he did last night was absolutely sensational. It was an historic performance, and it propelled the Los Angeles Dodgers to the pennant. And here we are. The Dodgers await. It's their 11th postseason appearance since 1988, when they were led to the World Series title by Oral Hershiser and the great Kirk Gibson. And in that stretch of time, there were 10 appearances in a row without a title, which is a Major League Baseball record. Having said all of that, they are there now. And it seems ripe to be had, meaning the Los Angeles Dodgers, led by Clayton Kershaw, with Mr. Kenley Jansen, with Bellinger, with Sega coming back after not having played in the NLCS, with Hernandez, with Puig and everybody else. The Dodgers, clearly the best team in baseball with 104 wins, most in the majors and most for the franchise since it moved to Los Angeles in 1958. They are the favorites. They are the favorites. Everybody's expecting the Dodgers to win. But me. Let me put it out on Front Street here to get on people's nerves, because that's what I tend to do. I predict that the New York Yankees will win tonight. I'm hopeful that they will win tonight. I'm predicting they will get it done tonight. It is a strictly emotional decision, damn it, but I'm standing by it. But I firmly believe that if the New York Yankees are able to knock off Verlander and the Houston Astros, they will beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series. That's right, I said it. They will beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't give a damn that the Dodgers have the best team. It doesn't matter to me. What I care about is the fact that if you're the New York Yankees and you could beat Kluber for the Indians and you could beat Keuchel and you find a way to beat Verlander, I think you can deal with Clayton Kershaw. I think you can deal with Jansen. I think you can deal with anybody in between, even if that includes you, Darvish. But we're not going to take away from what we saw from the Dodgers thus far. They are to be celebrated. It's been a great season. They've been absolutely fantastic. And it's great to see that they're back in the World Series for the first time since 1988. It's been a long time coming. Remember that song from the movie Malcolm? It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's not. They will lose. But we won't take anything away from what we've seen from them thus far. They've been absolutely sensational. They only lost one game in this postseason. And after beating the Cubs in Game 5, they're making their 19th World Series appearance. Tied with the St. Louis Cardinals for third most all time. This is what they've done. This is what they've done. They deserve credit for it, and we got to give it to them. But it ends now because the Yankees, I believe, will await. Now, they go against Verlander tonight, and they're going to be on the road in Houston. And for all the greatness that Aaron Judge has displayed at home, batting better than .333, on the road he's been god-awful. .053 batting average. Gary Sanchez, problematic. Didi Gregorius has to step up. Brett Gardner is going to have to step up. Todd Frazier is going to have to step up. All of these things are true. But if you're the New York Yankees, you should be able to pull this off. It's now. You can't have the Dodgers. You can't go to a Game 7, letting the Dodgers get all their rest, allowing Kershaw and those boys to have fresh arms, being ready to go. You've got to do something to inconvenience the proceedings. You've got to do something to make things a bit tight for the Los Angeles Dodgers. You can't have them rested and armed and ready to go. Just can't do it. Just can't do it. Got to take the Astros out tonight, plain and simple. I'm going to reiterate that point one last time. 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-SAY-ESPN. By the way, on another note, Dusty Baker, manager for the Washington Nationals, out. Relieved of his duties today. The Nationals will get another shot at an October run next season, but it won't be with Dusty Baker. The team announced today that Baker has been fired as manager after 2 seasons in Washington. The second straight years the Nat season ended in Game 5 of the NL Divisional Series. Baker went 192 and 132 as the Washington Nationals skipper, but was unable to helm the team past the opening round of the playoffs despite winning back-to-back division titles for the first time in franchise history. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sad about this. Paucity of African Americans in the sport of baseball, in terms from a managerial perspective, is something that I'm sensitive to. But I have to be honest. When I think about that, I also have to look at the fact that in 10 closeout postseason games, Dusty Baker has lost all of the last 10. Doesn't mean you're not a good manager. Doesn't mean you don't deserve a job. But it might mean that you don't deserve to be there. And that's the reality we have to take into consideration. You just can't ignore it. So we may not like the decision by the Washington Nationals, but we certainly can't act like we don't understand.
Want to be a part of the show? Hit Stephen A. up weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern at 866-729-3776.
Yo, welcome to Brooklyn, baby. County of Kings, home of the Nets. When you cross that bridge, you don't just enter a new zip code, man, you take on a new mindset. It's always us versus them. If one falls, we all get up. We grind till we shine, then polish some more. This is a place where game recognizes game. Brooklyn, we go hard.
Brooklyn Nets partial plans are available now. Call 718-NETS-TIX or visit brooklynnets.com and secure your seats today.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Tonight's going to be tough for the New York Yankees. Tonight's going to be tough. You're going up against a guy in Justin Verlander. Let's just put this in perspective, all right? Let's stop playing games. Luis Severino is going to be his counterpart, pitcher for the New York Yankees. We saw how he wet the bed against the in that game against Minnesota. We saw that. We saw that. Okay? He almost lost everything for them. But then he came back and pitched 7 shutout innings when he went up against the Indians. He made amends for that. But he's going up against Justin Verlander, by the way, who's 8-0 since getting traded from the Tigers to the Astros August 31st. 8-0, including the playoffs. 8-0 with an ERA a little over 1. He's been nothing short of sensational. You got to figure him out. And if you're Severino, you got to show up today. I don't think you're the Yankees and you want to go into a Game 7. Because if you got a Game 7, that will mean the Astros won Game 6, which means they go into Game 7 with momentum. They're down 3-2. They've lost 3 straight. Altuve looked like a monster the first 2 games and has been relatively held in check since that time. The same with Correa. The same with Springer and the rest of the crew. Look, this is what you need to do. You got to attack them while it's hot, while they're vulnerable, while there's a sense of demoralization. That's what you got to do. You got to do what you can. Aaron Judge. Think about this. This dude, 2 home runs and 6 RBIs over his last 3 games. All Yankees wins, games 3, 4, and 5. This is what I'm talking about here. You got to figure that out. He's got to continue to do it. He's awful on the road. Brett Gardner hasn't been good at all. Last 3 games. Great for the Yankees, but Gardner's been 0-for-11. And is now hitting just .227 for the players with 1 homer. But he works the count, and he's a tough out. Arguably their toughest out. This is what you need. Gary Sanchez is your catcher. Started out 0-for-18. Single, double, homer, and 5 RBIs over his last 2 games after starting 0-for-18. He seems to be coming on strong. But again, they're on the road. Got to take advantage of it. Got to figure it out. 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. Keep in mind, Herm Edwards, NFL analyst for ESPN, former head coach with the New York Jets and the Kansas City Chiefs, will come on with us to talk about Week 7 of the NFL season and last night's Oakland Raiders victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, our resident handicapper based out of Vegas, R.J. Bell, will be on with us in hour number 2 as well. So keep your eyes out for that, or your ears out for that, by the way. Let's go to the phones at 866-729-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, all on my mind. Plus Lonzo Ball's debut in the NBA last night was not good at all. Not good at all. Let's go to Marvin in Connecticut. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Marv.
Mr. Stephen A. Smith / Mr. ESPN. How you doing?
I'm all right. All of that's not necessary. Stephen is fine. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. I still got to give you your props at the end of the day. I'll tell you one thing. These Yankees not only got to do it for themselves, they got to do it for Mr. George Steinbrenner, and they got to do it for New York City. They have to do
First
it.
of all, it's Steinbrenner, not Steinberger. And secondly, God rest his wonderful soul. I think they won enough World Series for him before he passed away. But go ahead.
That's all right. That's all. We got to continue the legacy, though.
You got something else to say, bro?
Yeah. I want to talk about the Knicks. Well, what happened last night? I was looking for Michael Beasley. I haven't even seen him. What happened?
My man, have a nice day. Did you see me bring up the Knicks? Why did I not bring up the Knicks? Because it was a foregone conclusion they were going to lose, and they barely have any talent we recognize. You didn't have anything to say. You wasted your time being on hold, okay? Let's go to Rob. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Rob. What's going on?
Good morning, Stephen. I want to wish you a belated happy birthday.
Thanks a lot, my man. Go ahead.
I just want to say that as a born and raised native in L.A., I would love nothing more to see your Yankees come visit Dodger Stadium. As well as any other sport, we love to see the Celtics in the finals. We want the Yankees in the finals, as well as the Canadians in the finals whenever we get there.
Okay. So what do you think is going to happen if the Yankees win this series against the Astros and they meet the Dodgers? Get it off your chest.
Yes, I'm rooting for the Yankees to win this series. Not tonight, but maybe in 7 games. So there'll be some tired dogs when they reach LA.
Stop. Stop. I understand. So it's bad enough you don't want you. It's bad enough you got the best team in baseball who won 104 games. But now you want an additional advantage because you want the Yankees to come in tired. You don't want real competition. You don't want the Dodgers to have to stand up, man up, and validate their 104 wins, being at their best, going against the Yankees at their best. No, you want the Yankees tired. What you gonna wish for next, Rob? You want them to get injured too? You want them to be incapable of competing against the Dodgers just so you can say you're a champion? What happened to being the man? You got to beat the man. What happened to that, Rob?
You're right. But
that's a real weak approach. That's you know what that shows me, Rob? You have no confidence in your Dodgers. You have no confidence in your Dodgers. You want them to go up against a disabled squad, a squad that's not at their best, because all you care about is them winning the World Series, not them winning it the right way, not them being at their best, having the Yankees at their best, and then taking the Yankees out. You want the Yankees disabled so you can sit up there and say, hey, we're just the champions, even if you have to cheat your way or find a weak way to go about winning the World Series. That's very, very weak, Rob. That's very, very weak.
They win tonight, and it's no problem.
Whatever. It's too late. It's too late to modify your position. Your position is weak. Goodbye. Your position is weak. You don't get to clean it up now. That's a very weak approach, Rob, and I'm not going to forget you either. You want the Yankees hurt so the Dodgers can sit up there and just, we won the World Series. If in your perfect world, Aaron Judge will get stomach virus, Gary Sanchez might get diarrhea. Todd Frazier might come down with the flu. Severino might catch a flat tire on the way to the stadium or something. In your world, those things could happen. You'd like that, wouldn't you? So pathetic. So pathetic. 866-729-ESPN. It's 866-SAY-ESPN. Coach Herm Edwards up next, previewing Week 7 of the NFL season. He's live with yours truly, Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
The Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio. It is always my honor and privilege to have my buddy, the former coach of the New York Jets, the Kansas City Chiefs, now NFL analyst extraordinaire for ESPN, the one and only Coach Herm Edwards. How you doing, buddy? How's everything going?
I am well. We got another good Thursday night football game last night, which is always good to see and watch. It kind of turned out a little different than people anticipated.
Well, let's get to the game itself first. They came back. They won this game. How did the Oakland Raiders win this game in your estimation?
Well, Derek Carr, he actually put the team on his back. And when you think about what he was able to do in the fourth quarter, they outscored Kansas City Chiefs 10-0. He had 3 possessions and scored twice. Kansas City had 2 possessions, did not score. And this is the big factor in the game. I thought their offensive line, for the most part, when you think about how many times he went back to throw, he threw the ball 52 times. He did not get sacked. So that's a good sign for their offensive line against a pretty good front. You talk about Houston, Jones, D Ford. They can get after the quarterback. Didn't throw any interceptions, which is also a critical part. Amari Cooper showed up big time. Got him in the slot, got him some easy throws and catches. And then I thought at the end, the game got extended due to fouls, obviously. A lot of fouls at the end of the game, and obviously that gave them the ability to put the game away.
It's interesting when we look at the the Oakland Raiders right now. I just say to myself, excuse me, their offense is high powered, particularly when Crabtree and Amari Cooper are clicking. Of course, Derek Carr being behind center is everything to them. If that's not the case, they're in a world of trouble. But what did you think about this defense? Because the bottom line is this: they were down by 10 points in the fourth quarter, and evidently made the stops that they needed to make, considering the way Kansas City's offense has been performing thus far this season. I did not anticipate that would happen. What do you say about Oakland's defense last night?
Well, they're similar to Kansas City in this sense. They allow you yards. Now, they gave up some points last night, which is concerning. Anytime you give up, close to 30 points, that's a lot of points defensively. But this was a passing game, Stephen A., when you think about it. There were 88 passes totally thrown last night. So this was a passing game. The Kansas City Chiefs had 425 yards of offense. The Oakland Raiders had 505 yards of offense. So when you get in a game like that, you expect stops in certain periods of that. And I thought the Raiders in the fourth quarter, when the Chiefs had the two possessions, did not allow them points. Those were the two biggest stops for that defense.
Herm Edwards right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Your thoughts about Marshawn Lynch coming out onto the field and finding himself in that kind of precarious situation? I know we give Marshawn Lynch beast mode a lot of passes because he's beast mode, and he's very, very unique in that regard. But last time I checked, this is the sport of football. I don't want to condemn him and excoriate him for it, but at the same, Marcus Peters is his cousin. But in the same breath, what are you doing out on the field doing something like that? I don't understand.
Yeah. And that's the discussion you have to have with Marshawn, because this is a game that basically the reason you won is because of fouls of the Kansas City Chiefs. They extended the game. Can you imagine if he would have ran out there in that moment and the game was tied and the Chiefs had the ball after they had just stopped them and he gets the foul and they kick a field goal and they lose? Now they've lost 5 in a row. And that's what you got to explain to Marshawn. Hey, I get it's an emotional game and all that, but you can't leave the sideline. That is a foul. And as far as, touching the official, that takes care of itself. You're going to get fined. You don't even have to fine the player for that. He's going to get fined. He's going to get kicked out of the game. So I think this going forward, you got to figure out what you're going to do with Marshawn Lynch. Because, Stephen A., as much as we love him, look, his stats last night, he had 2 carries.
Yeah.
He had 2 carries. And so here's the problem going forward. If he's not in the game playing offense, then what is he doing on the sideline while the team is playing? That's the next thing you're going to have to deal with. Because the cameras are going to be on him and wondering, why is he not on the sideline? Is he on the bench sitting with his shoes off? What is he doing? That's what you got to deal with. Now, you signed on for it, but you better be ready to deal with it if it occurs.
Coach Herm Edwards right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Coach, let's go to, 2-week. Well, it's week 7 now in the NFL season, just flying by us or whatever. What's the game that's standing out in your mind, other than the Sunday night game between the Falcons and the Patriots, because we know that's a given? Is there another game that's standing out in your mind right now that you'd like us all to pay attention to?
Well, I think when you break these games down and you figure out what people are, I mean, the Pittsburgh, obviously, that's one of your teams, and I know you were happy what they did last week against Cincinnati. That's always one of those games that you want to watch due to the fact that it's going to be a physical football game. That's an important game, I think, there. I think when you look at the Bills in Tampa Bay all of a sudden, the Bills are still kind of hovering around there. Tampa Bay is a team that we projected to be very, very good. Is Jameis going to play? Is he not going to play? All of a sudden, if the Bills win this game, they're 4-2. They're riding pretty good at 4-2, by the way, if they win this game. How about the Saints in Green Bay? We love number 12. He's no longer there. Can Hundley all of a sudden take a team that is 4-2 in a division where the quarterback play is probably the best one is in Detroit? Can he win 6 games out of the next 10 to get him to 10 wins? Can he do that? That's going to be interesting. And this is one I want to see. The Rams and Arizona. That's right. Adrian Peterson has found his youthful exuberance.
That was one way, but has he found a coach, or did he just have one good week?
Well, that's what I want to see. Because you know what, Stephen A., we say this about him. He is one of the original clavicle busters. In other words, when he runs through the line of scrimmage, there's a lot of defensive backs that make business decisions as far as wanting to tackle this guy or not. So I want to see him do it 2 weeks in a row.
Coach Herm was right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. One of the things I have a question about, first of all, the Rams have been a surprise to me. Yeah. The Chargers finally won a game, albeit against the New York Giants. We know what the struggles are with the Giants, but the Jets gave the Patriots a good game last week and what have you, so we got to throw that out there. But some of the teams that I look at, for example, I think that right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the team to beat in the AFC because of their arsenal. And ironically, to me, their success or lack thereof is predicated upon the interest of Big Ben Roethlisberger and how much he really, really wants to play. When you've watched Big Ben Roethlisberger over the course of this season, have you seen the same football player that appears as interested in playing as he used to be?
I think he's still interested in playing, Stephen A. I think this has changed. The culture of the players has changed. He's an old school kind of guy. He's kind of trying to figure that all out. And, you know, the guys he's playing with on offense, they are talented. They are talented. Look, Ben came in the league long before these guys to an organization that has been very structured. And you get a new player coming in there, and sometimes, you know, Ben's trying to figure that out. I know this. He knows that he has a good football team, maybe one of the better football teams he has. And don't lose sight of this. That Pittsburgh defense is playing good all of a sudden.
And why is that? Why is that?
Yeah,
is it Joe Hayden's arrival?
Yeah, a little bit. No, not that so much. Those inside guys, Tuitt and those guys up front now are playing well. Watt is, you know, coming off the edge. Shazier. The secondary is playing much better. They were young guys last year, giving up a lot of scores. All of a sudden, these guys are top 5 defense. They're playing good. You know, that's a problem. Look, Stephen, when we went there for Sports Center Special, and remember, I was talking to the guys, and even talking to some of the Pittsburgh brass, their whole deal was this. Hey, we know what kind of football team we got. Our deal is this. We got to find a way to beat New England. They can beat Kansas City, and Kansas City can beat New England, but Pittsburgh Steelers have to beat New England.
To the NFC, before I let you get on out of here. Cam Newton missing media day the last 2 days. First time he's done that in his career. What do you think is going on there?
I don't know. I'm hoping it has nothing to do with the lady reporter that he got into the little friction with. I don't know. You know, I know this is the wrong way to handle it. Hopefully he'll show up today. If not, he's going to get fined. And he's eventually going to have to explain why he is not coming to media day. It just, he's, you know, and Cam, we love him, but sometimes he doesn't think it out. You know, you got to look. You're the face of the organization. You're one of the biggest faces in football. You know, you don't always have to enjoy doing press conferences, but that's a little bit of your responsibility. No different than the head coaches.
Well, Coach, what do you think about this? We understand it in this entirely different position because he's a quarterback. But in the same breath, Marshawn Lynch don't talk to the media. Nobody says anything. Cam Newton don't talk to the media. He's going to get fined. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, it's just that's part of the agreement. You know, that's part of the deal. And players know it. And Marshawn, at times, you know, when they asked him to speak, I mean, he got fined a couple times, you know, and then he said, hey, I'm gonna come to the press conference because I don't want to get fined, right?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
So I don't get fined. And you know what? I love him because he made so much money not talking. He's the guy that's made more commercials without talking than anybody I've ever seen.
Coach, appreciate you, man. Talk to you next week, buddy. Thanks so much.
Okay, partner. Thank you.
All right, the one and only Herm Edwards, Coach Herm Edwards, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio, 866-729-ESPN. Is always the number to call up. That's 866-729-3776. That's 866-SAY-ESPN. We'll get back to your phone calls and more on Week 7 of the NFL in a minute. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Phones we go. Right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Remember, R.J. Bell, resident handicapper based out of Vegas, founder for pregame.com, the official odds maker for the Associated Press, will be on with us to preview Week 7 in the eyes of Vegas. Looking forward to that conversation. For now, we'll get back to the phones about the Dodgers, about the Yankees, about Lonzo Ball's debut in a Lakers uniform. Ladies and gentlemen, he looked weak. 1 for 6, just 3 points. Lacked aggression all night long. Created a couple of shots for others, but not too many. And listen, Patrick Beverley came up to me before the game and said, I'm going to get in his you-know-what. All in him. Patrick Beverley is essentially a one-way player. Now, I love the dude. He could be on my team any day of the week. He's one of the elite defenders in the game of basketball. He's a rough rider. Ain't scared of anybody. But the flip side to all of this is that you got cats like Russell Westbrook and others who give it to you on both ends of the floor because they're that special. And you got guys, looking at folks talking about, I'm going to give Lonzo 50, maybe even 60. This is what they say. This is not a joke. And Patrick Beverley just took the life out of him. I'm scared of what everybody else is going to do to him. You have any idea how badly Steph Curry can't wait to get his hands on Lonzo because of LaVar Ball's mouth? Do you realize what this kid is in for? He's relatively thin. He's not that strong. He's got to get in the weight room. I mean, he can play, don't get me wrong now. And as for the Lakers, ladies and gentlemen, they're just not a good team. They're just not. And I can't say this enough. I am not sold on Brandon Ingram. I'm just not. He looks frail, thin, okay? And shooting 2 for 12 before making a shot or two at the meaningless portion of the game. Look, he's just not that. He doesn't look worthy of a number 2 overall pick. And I pray that I'm wrong. Kuzma, he's got potential. Just didn't have the greatest night. Lonzo, same thing, but they're going to go at Lonzo. Boy, he's got a lot of work to do. And I'm not just talking about his game. I'm talking about his strength. This is a man's game. And he looked like a boy out there last night. But I wish him well. His father's crazy. But he's a lot of fun at times. It's all right. It's all right. Let's go to Chris in L.A. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A. Good morning.
I'm all right.
So I just wanted to touch on the whole Lonzo performance yesterday, Stephen A. And I watched you on First Take this morning, and you said something that really resonated with me. You asked, was Lonzo drafted because of his talent or for business? And this is something I've been saying from day one, Stephen A. I believe it was business. Because you look at it from a talent perspective, just last night, I'm not trying to be prisoner of the moment, but like you mentioned, he looked timid, passive, intimidated. And he just doesn't look, and I just feel bad for Stephen. When the game was out of reach with about 4 minutes left, they had the cameras on him and all that. Yeah. I sat there and I just looked bad. I felt bad for him, Stephen A. I just really felt bad because he has this bullseye on his back that he didn't ask for. And now he's got all these guys coming at him because of what his father said. And yeah. I listened to you mention, he's not strong enough. He needs to get in the weight room. I mean, I don't think I think it's a little deeper than that because when Kevin Durant first came in the league, he wasn't able to.
Well, of course, it's deeper than that. Of course, it's deeper than that. It's just that's one of the things that you're going to have to address because you got to remember something. Kevin Durant. Everybody talks about Kevin Durant. Well, he wasn't strong. He couldn't even bench press 200 pounds. He's also 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan. That ain't Lonzo. Kevin Durant's 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan and a J. What you gonna do with that? He could still not lift 200 pounds and still be as great as he is.
Agree. And another question, real quick, Steve. And this is something that because I remember everybody saying, "Oh, he's Showtime. He's this, and that." I'm like, but. Does his personality really fit Showtime personality? I don't even think his personality fits it. Like he's just so nonchalant. Like this is not the college game anymore. Like,
I will say to you that they say yes. My response to you is I agree with you that it's a legitimate question because everybody talked about his poise and he was intelligent and it was a bad game last night and they got blown out because Blake Griffin was a man amongst boys and all of that's true. The flip side to it, however, is that in Showtime, I kind of need more of a personality. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, this is L.A. This is Showtime. I kind of need more of a personality. I really, really do. I must confess. I need more. I'll be the first to admit that.
I agree, Stephen A. All right, man. Take care. Thank you.
Take it easy. Look, it's one game. It's his first game as a rookie. I'm not trying to condemn Lonzo Ball, not trying to act like he doesn't have any potential. But do y'all see some of these first-round picks? First of all, Kuzma is at the end of the first round. Secondly, what about this kid Donovan Mitchell out of Utah? What about Dennis Smith Jr. out of Dallas? I mean, there are guys. What about this kid Markkanen with Chicago? What about De'Aaron Fox with Sacramento? Look, we see a lot of talent in the first round that the Lakers passed up on to bring Lonzo Ball here. And I feel bad for him because there's immense pressure. And it's not just because of his daddy. It's also because of Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson, his first year at the helm, a basketball savant, the greatest point guard in NBA history. Guess what? Magic said the Lakers are back. We need to see it. We need to see it. From Lonzo. Maybe not from everybody else, but definitely from Lonzo. Hour number 2 up next, week 7 of the NFL season, plus MLB playoffs and more. It's Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
Yo, welcome to Brooklyn, baby. County of Kings, home of the Nets. When you cross that bridge, you don't just enter a new zip code, man, you take on a new mindset. It's always us versus them. If one falls, we all get up. We grind till we shine, then polish some more. This is a place where game recognizes game. Brooklyn, we go hard.
Brooklyn Nets partial plans are available now. Call 718-NETS-TIX or visit brooklynnets.com and secure your seats today.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show here with you for the next hour over the airwaves of ESPN Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 80. Number to call up as always is 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776, 866-SAY-ESPN. Jam-packed show. Lots of issues to get into. Before I get back to the calls about Lonzo Ball, about LeVar Ball, about the MLB playoffs, the Dodgers, congratulations to them, the Los Angeles Dodgers, getting to the World Series, back to the World Series for the first time since 1988. Been to the postseason 10 times since that time. Never made it back to the World Series since 88, but they're back. 29-year absence eradicated. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers on that front. But they got the Yankees or the Astros to go up against. Yankees, they got to go against Justin Verlander. We got to figure out a way. We got to figure out something about Kate Upton. I mean, if he's Popeye, she's spinach. For some reason, she inspires and strengthens him. If he's Samson, she's Delilah. We got to figure something out about Kate Upton. Every time she's around, Justin Verlander looks unstoppable. 8-0 since getting traded from Detroit to Houston August 31st. Got an ERA near 1. Damn it, he looks unstoppable. Yankees have to figure it out. Got to figure it out. Cannot allow this series to get to 7 games because if it does, Houston's going to have the momentum. It's not going to look good. It's not going to look good. The Yankees need to take the Astros out tonight. And I predict that if they do it, if they beat Verlander, that will mean they have beaten Verlander, they have beaten Keuchel, they have beaten Kluber. So don't tell me that Clayton Kershaw and the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to take them out. I refuse to believe it. I refuse. I'm nervous about the Yankees winning tonight. Which Severino's going to show up. But I believe if the Yankees win tonight, they're going to win the World Series. They will beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. I believe if Houston wins the series, the Dodgers will beat them. That's what I believe. I do not believe that the Houston Astros are going to win the World Series this year. As much as I love this kid Altuve, the mighty little fella that he is, and Correa and Springer and the crew, I don't believe they're going to win the World Series. It will be the Yankees or the Dodgers. Period. 866-729-ESPN. It's 866-SAY-ESPN. I want to transition to another subject. Oakland Raiders won a game last night. Came back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Beat the Kansas City Chiefs 31-30. I told y'all about Alex Smith, didn't y'all? Didn't I tell y'all? Damn good quarterback. Very, very good until the moments wane and times get tight. You know what they say. During that time, backsides get tight, palms get sweaty. And certain dudes just ain't cut out for it. They just can't handle it. They just can't do it. That's what we got going on here. That's what I believe we got going on here. That's what's problematic for the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, the boys can play. Travis Kelce, he's a bad boy. Andy Reid, he's an established, damn good coach. But the defense without Eric Berry, even though they could do some things, they're not as formidable. And offensively, you can't rely on Alex Smith to get it done for you. You just can't. Meanwhile, with Oakland, Derek Carr showing that he's worth every cent of that $125 million. Amari Cooper had his coming out party yesterday. Crabtree scored a winning touchdown. Offense could be high-powered. If Raiders defense can show up, they can make some noise. Still think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the best team in the AFC right now. Well, obviously, we can never discount New England. But there's another story that came with last night's game. And it involves beast mode himself, Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch had his evening ended early. He was ejected in the second quarter after running out onto the field, ultimately pushing and then grabbing an official. He was trying to get to Marcus Peters, who was penalized on a play for unnecessary roughness after a late hit on Raiders quarterback Derek Carr. Here's the interesting part about it from what I'm told. Marcus Peters, that's Marshawn Lynch's cousin. Marshawn Lynch was on the sideline. Why he ran out there, I don't know. I don't understand it. It's a football play. I don't get it. But he did. Look, I like beast mode. He's real. He's not fake. He's authentic. All of those things are true. But I just respect the fact that he's true to himself. But that doesn't mean he's always right. And this is a guy that wants to affect in a very positive way, a lot of kids out there. And I'm saying that Marshawn Lynch could get away with a lot of things that most people can't get away with. Sometimes what I wish he would do is take that into consideration. So you're sending a message to kids that they can't get away with everything. And they can't get away with a lot of things that you could get away with. Therefore, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to shine. I don't want to set the example of allowing you to believe that you could get away with stuff that you probably ain't going to be able to get away with because you ain't me. All them kids out there in Oakland and beyond, they can't be beast mode. Most of them can't. Beast mode, listen, ain't too many of them out there. And I'm not disrespecting him in any way because I got a lot of love for beast mode. I've come to genuinely like him. I'm just simply saying that it's kids out there that can't be you. They can't do what he did on any level. And because of that, he might want to be cognizant of that. Because sometimes the best way to help youth and to send the right messages to youth is by not doing certain things, even if you can get away with it, because you don't want them believing they can when we all know they won't be able to. That's just my belief system. It just is. 866-729-3776, 866-say-ESPN. Mike in Denver, talk to me, man. How you doing?
How you doing, man?
All right. Bad day for you with Dusty Baker, but go ahead.
Okay, man. I want to talk about the NBA and a little bit about football.
Go ahead.
The Lakers going to be in trouble, man. I believe if they don't get this boy.
What's your definition of trouble?
I'm talking about bottom of the barrel, man. Lonzo ain't the kind of player that can do it on his own, and he don't have no help around him. So That's going to diminish his game.
Okay.
It's going to look, if they don't get him no help, it's going to look like Magic Johnson made the wrong choice drafting this boy when they had other athletic guys.
That's a good point, Mike. That's a good point. They got to get him some help. Right now, I'm not going to lie to you. It was just last night's game, and the Clippers are better than most teams. They're better than 80% of the league. But I will tell you this. Based on what I saw last night, I couldn't see the Clippers. I couldn't see the Lakers winning 25 games.
That's what this, man. What they working with is not going to get it. And, that boy, he got all that pressure on his back from his dad. And then, like you made a comparison earlier with Ingram compared to Kevin Durant, there ain't no comparison. He ain't got no kind of skills that Kevin Durant possesses. He gonna have to get strong along with Lonzo. And if they can't get in second, third, fourth gear in a hurry, man, the Lakers gonna look terrible, man. And it's sad that it's going to be sad to see with Magic Johnson in charge. You know what I mean?
Well, listen. Here's my only wish for Magic Johnson. Who, by the way, he and I have a bet. I told him if the Yankees win this series, they've beaten the Dodgers in the World Series. So Magic Johnson and I have a bet, which he will lose, by the way, just like you lost. But but I digress. Let me get back to the Lakers. When I look at Lonzo Ball, I'm praying that he's good to go for Magic's sake. Because if Magic and the Lakers have messed up with this pick, we won't have much faith in Magic Johnson. Because he's a basketball savant, a 5-time champion, and he's a point guard who drafted a point guard. So if he gets that wrong, you won't believe in him about anything else. And that's the fear factor here. So I'm sincerely hoping that Lonzo Ball ends up being everything we hoped he'd be. Because if that's not the case, we got ourselves a problem.
Right, and then just add a little further on to that.
Speak up, Mike. We can't hear you. Speak up.
I say, and to add on to that, we're gonna look at Magic Johnson like Michael Jordan. Took him a while before he even got his team into the playoffs.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem with here's the mistake with your analysis. With the analysis, Michael Jordan was an owner. Magic Johnson's the president. There's a difference. Michael owns. So even though he might have made some mistakes, as an owner, you're entitled when you cutting the check. Magic's getting the check. He's got a job to do. He's got to do it well. Mike, I got to run. I appreciate the call. 866-729-ESPN, 866-SAY-ESPN. R.J. Bell, our resident handicap out of Vegas, is up next with yours truly. Live right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio.
Give Stephen A. piece of your mind.
He is sorry.
Call him weekdays from 1 till 3 Eastern.
I mean, just trash.
At 866-729-3776.
Yo, welcome to Brooklyn, baby. County of Kings, home of the Nets. When you cross that bridge, you don't just enter a new zip code, man, you take on a new mindset. It's always us versus them. If one falls, we all get up. We grind till we shine, then polish some more. This is a place where game recognizes game. Brooklyn, we go hard.
Brooklyn Nets partial plans are available now. Call 718-NETS-TIX or visit brooklynnets.com and secure your seats today.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Always my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. He's our resident handicapper based out of Vegas. His Twitter handle is at RJInVegas. He is the founder for pregame.com. The official odds maker for the Associated Press. He is the one and only R.J. Bell, who's always on the line with us on Fridays leading into each week of the NFL season. Good afternoon, buddy. How you been?
Steven, how are you?
I'm exhausted, but I'm okay.
All right,
watching
well, listen,
Lonzo Ball and these guys last night, but I'm all right.
You sit back. I'll do the work this Saturday.
I appreciate that. By the way, last 4 weeks of the NFL, underdogs 38-18-2 against the spread. That's 68%, 30-28 straight up. So let's get right to these games. Tennessee Titans favored by 5.5 at Cleveland. Talk to me.
I can't bet the Browns. I like bad teams typically because they're cheap. Usually they're cheaper than they even should be. But Kaiser is so bad, Steven, the worst quarterback rating of any season for any quarterback this century, since 2000.
Is that because of him, though? In Vegas's eyes, is it because of him, or is it because dudes ain't good enough, so they're not getting open, they can't pass, they can't catch the ball, or what? Is it really him or them?
But other than quarterback, do you think the Browns are worse this year than they were last year or the year before? I think the Browns are better everywhere but quarterback. And those years that the quarterback ratings were better than Kaiser, that includes all the Browns quarterbacks this century too. So I think that with the fact Kaiser got benched and now he's back after just one game. I think the sense is that this is a young kid that maybe isn't going to handle that benching well. We saw what he did on social media. Now, that said, I do not want Tennessee because I think Mariota without mobility isn't near as good, and he's a little banged up. And number two, the Browns have one area that's pretty decent, defending the run, and Tennessee wants to run the ball. So I think this is a very low-scoring game.
Help me out with one quick second before I get to the next game. You said how Kaiser handled things on social media. I missed that. What exactly did he do, RJ?
So I can't remember if it was just him or if it was just his girlfriend or both of them. But one, at least at minimum, was saying bad things about the Browns right after they benched him.
Oh, Lord. You're unbelievable. Jacksonville Jaguars favored by 3 at the Indianapolis Colts. What's up?
Okay, so Jags have not won in Indy since 2012. My big question in this game, Andrew Luck, looks like the chance of him playing this season went down this week. Mm-hmm. And thus, does the Colts lose a little energy because they've been waiting for Luck to come back, right? Imagine you're playing without your A guy. You're thinking he might be back next week, maybe next week. Now it looks like maybe not the whole season. That's not a sure thing. I think that might be depressing for the Colts. One other thing about the Colts. You think the problem is the offense. If you actually look at yards per play, the Colts' defense is worse than their offense. Yards per play, they're number 31 in defense, the Colts. So to me, I don't want any part of them. But the Jags, with Fournette being questionable, I can't play them if I don't know he's going to play.
We're talking to RJ Bell right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. The Pittsburgh Steelers, my team, favored by 5. Hosting the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, my team too. We say it every week. Every spread tells a story. Home field is 3 in the NFL. The fact the Steelers at home are only favored by 5 shows only a 2-point difference against the Bengals, and that's a sign of a massive amount of respect for the Bengals. If you look at net yards per play, the Bengals have the second best in the NFL. Now, that's a stat the wise guys love. And the Bengals are the second best in the NFL. Ton of respect for them. I still lean towards Pittsburgh because this is a heat. With Pittsburgh, you got to ask yourself, are they going to be focused and motivated? They lose to the Bears. They lose to the Jags. But then they dominate the Ravens, and they pretty much dominate Kansas City. It's all about motivation with Tomlin. I think they will be motivated against the Bengals, so I lean Pittsburgh.
Minnesota Vikings favored by 5.5, hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
Speaking of the Ravens, last 4 games, only 4 offensive touchdowns in 4 games. And if you look at Zimmer historically...
I'm done with Flacco. I'm done with him, RJ. I'm done with him.
Well, here's the thing, Steven. In Vegas, when you hate someone or if you don't think they're good, you can bet against them, right? So that we can make some money against Flacco. I agree. He is deteriorating physically, and if you watch the tape, it looks like from the guys I respect, they say that. One last thing on this game. Coach Zimmer, right, formerly of the Bengals, and Zimmer had great success against Flacco. So I think schematically that's an advantage for Minnesota. I like Minnesota.
Dolphins favored by 3, hosting the New York Jets. What the hell is a Jay Cutler team doing being favored? What's up with that?
Well, this says these are even teams. Now think about it. The Jets entered the season considered to be one of the worst teams of the last decade, and now they're an even team, only a 3-point road dog against the Dolphins. I think Cutler is regressing also. We thought he would get better as the season progressed because he got more familiar, in theory, though, more familiar with the offense, right? Well, here, it looks like he's getting worse. I'm going to give you one stat that hasn't really made the rounds. The Dolphins have won 11 straight games decided by 1 score or less, so 7 points or less. That, in theory, that should be 50-50. The fact they've won 11 straight tells me this is an overrated Dolphins team because they've been lucky in these close games. And people might say, oh, they're clutch. If you look at the math, there really is no clutch.
Can I give you in Vegas a tip about Jay Cutler?
Anytime.
If the man was lazy and apathetic in Chicago, What would make you think he would suddenly become energized in the hot weather and the friendly confines near South Beach in Fort Lauderdale?
So what do you mean when you say friendly?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying to you, the weather's nice out there. It's a retirement capital in this country, for crying out loud. I mean, why would he all of a sudden get energized there?
You know, Steven, I got to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of yours. That's one of the sharp. I cannot argue with you. Great point.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Carolina Panthers favored by 3 at Chicago.
Okay, so to me, I like the Bears here, and it's about Trubisky. Now, you might say, oh, he's not a good quarterback, and you'd be right, I think, so far. But it's the fact that he's willing to run the ball 5, 6, 7 times a game. Not so much he's rushing, but he's moving in the pocket a bunch. And to me, if you have a quarterback that's willing to run, that might not last long term. RG3, we saw obviously. But for any given game, having a bad quarterback that won't run, or maybe a slightly better quarterback that will run, that's a big upgrade. And otherwise, the Bears have a lot of good qualities if you look at the stats other than quarterback this year. Carolina without Kuechly, I think that hurts them on the field, but I also think it hurts them psychologically because he's their leader defensively. Thus, I like the Bears getting 3.
Let's go with the next one right here. New Orleans favored by 4 at Green Bay. I'm so surprised. Go ahead.
Here's your stat of the week. The most valuable player in NFL history, according to Vegas, is Aaron Rodgers. He moved the line 10 points, Steven, in this game. No one has ever moved the line 10 points. Doesn't mean he's the best player ever. It means he's the best quarterback today, and quarterback is king in the NFL. It's so much more valuable than it used to be. Here's an amazing variation of that stat. Is with Rodgers, the Packers would not be underdogs to anyone in the NFL on a neutral field. No one would be favored over them, let's say, in the Super Bowl. Without Rodgers, the only 2 teams that wouldn't be favored over them are the Browns and the Colts. Every other team would be favored. Imagine one player making that much of a difference. All that said, I actually like the Pack here. The line has moved drastically. We're getting 4 points at home. And usually when the Packers or any team has a big injury, that first game, everyone steps up a notch to say, hey, we can do okay without them. That probably won't last. But game 1, I'm going with the Pack.
RJ, I need these next ones to be pretty quick, okay?
Yes.
Because we're running out of time. Rams, 5.5 favored. 3.5 favored, against Arizona in London.
I like the Rams here for one reason, is they made this London trip last year, and being familiar with this trip is a big advantage. I like the Rams.
Cowboys favored by 6 at San Francisco.
I like the 49ers here. I think, remember, Dallas had a bye, and they haven't played since Jerry Jones talked about being so draconian about if any players kneel. And I think maybe they're not going to kneel, but I think they're talking about it. Elliott, as you mentioned, is a distraction also. I think the 49ers are better than their record. I'm taking them +6.
Seattle Seahawks favored by 4.5 at New York Giants.
I don't lean either way because I don't like the Giants at all. They played old school football last week, against Denver. That was a great win, but they only completed 2 passes to wide receivers. I don't think you can win like that consistently in the NFL. I think Seattle was way overrated. They're living on their pedigree. If you look at their stats, they're an average team.
Los Angeles Chargers favored by 1, hosting the Denver Broncos.
I like the Broncos here. The Chargers have the lowest home field advantage in the NFL. They're not familiar with the stadium. It's not a football stadium, and the fans for the other team have been about half of the fans. And because of that, I think the market is still giving them home field here, the Chargers. I don't think they deserve it. I like Denver.
Patriots favored by 3.5, hosting Atlanta, Sunday Night Football.
I think Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, is the problem with the Falcons. Shanahan, last year's OC, was so good and made such a difference. And how does an OC show himself? It's second half. The adjustments you make at halftime. Steven, last 2 games, Atlanta in the second half has scored a combined 7 points only against the genius Belichick. I'm going with the Pats.
Monday night, Philadelphia Eagles may be the best team in the NFC right now, favored by 4.5, hosting the Washington Redskins, Kirk Cousins and the boys.
Some think the Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now. And if you look at Wentz, he certainly is trending upwards. I do lean towards the Skins here. Remember, week 1, these 2 teams played, and the Eagles won on the scoreboard easily, but if you actually look at the game, it was an even game. We're getting more than a field goal. I think the Skins are almost as good as the Eagles. We'll take Washington plus 4.5.
Kirk Cousins winless, 0-5 on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, so the question is that just like flipping it 5 straight heads, or is this something where the bright lights, and that's the brightest on Monday night, or something he doesn't respond to? I do think it's an interesting stat. He has never won on Monday Night Football, Kirk Cousins.
RJ Bell, always appreciate the expertise, buddy. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Stephen.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Let's go to Carlton. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Carlton. How are you, man?
I'm good. Good to talk to you, man. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. You know what? I wish I was 60. I ain't gonna lie. People don't want to get older. I actually want to get older. You know, it's two reasons. Number one, I'm closer to retirement. And number two, you know what? If I lose all my hair, ain't nobody hating on me because I'm 60.
Right. I had to shave mine off a while back, so I know what you're talking about. So
I got you.
But I want to talk about these Dodgers real quick. I hear where you're coming from with the Yankees, but if the Dodgers play like they played in the NLCS, I don't think it matters who comes out of the American League. They're going to win.
They won't. Do you know why? Do you know why they won't?
Nope.
Because Chicago doesn't have a bullpen. The Yankees do. That's why.
That's great. And everybody's talking about the Yankees bullpen, but nobody's talking about the fact that the Dodgers bullpen just set a record in NLCS for most consecutive innings without a run.
No. Dodgers bullpen is no joke. Dodgers bullpen is no joke. But what I'm saying is that your batters aren't going against a formidable bullpen in Chicago. You would be against the Yankees. That's my point.
But the Yankees will be going against a formidable bullpen as well.
I know that. I know that.
But the other point though is they did what they did to the Cubs without Corey Seager, who is arguably their best player this year.
Yeah. But he's rusty. He's rusty.
I get. That's not where I'm going with it. My point with that is though, I think it was Tim Kirshen a while back was talking about how he was worried about the Dodgers being able to put up runs with changing the lineup so much. But I think that's actually been able to help them. So when somebody like Corey Seager goes down, they can still put up runs and move the lineup around. So I think, like I said, if they do what they did the last couple of days, I don't think anybody's going to be able to hold up.
You could wish that. You could wish that. I can understand that. I mean, it's been a long time. Since 1988. It's been 29 years. I understand. You're being optimistic and trying to find that silver lining wherever you can because you know what? The Dodgers ain't accustomed to winning World Series in recent memory. When the Dodgers, won the World Series, I was a freshman in college. A long time ago.
I was young too, but they outscored the Cubs 28-8 in a 5-game series.
Listen, I got it, man. Byers and Mansa and all of these boys, they're no joke. I got it. But I'm just talking about them going against the Yankees. I heard your point. Take it easy. Have a nice day. Markel, you're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. What's up?
How's it going, Stephen A?
Speak up, cuz. What's going on?
Well, I'm sorry. All right, so I had 2 points basically real quick.
Yeah, you better hurry up. Why you call up here, you don't sound ready. What's the problem? You all right?
Hey, I had you on speaker, man. All right,
I've been on the phone together. Well, that's your problem. Get together. Let's go.
I know. All right. 2 points real quick. First point, you and Max need to stop saying on TV that LeBron James can go to any single NBA team.
Stop right there. Talk to me about me. I don't give a damn what Max says on the Stephen A. Smith radio show. That's for First Take. This is not First Take. This is me. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you need to stop saying that he can go to any NBA team and say and go to the NBA Finals. That he wasn't even going to go to the NBA Finals. Matter of fact, let alone the playoffs if he hadn't made all those changes when he came back to Cleveland. That's point number one. Okay.
How do you know that? I don't understand what your point is. I said he'd go there. I didn't say he'd win.
No, that's my point. He wouldn't even make it there. He wouldn't even make it to the playoffs.
Hold on, let me ask you a question. Let's start right there. If Chris Paul hadn't left, let's just knock this down. If Chris Paul hadn't left and LeBron James went to the Clippers, they wouldn't have got to the finals?
Debatable.
If LeBron James had gone to San Antonio with Kawhi, they wouldn't go to the finals?
Debatable, but I can give you the other team.
That's debatable? That LeBron, hold it. LeBron and Kyrie being coached by Greg Popovich would not have gone to the finals?
Okay, yeah, they would have. All
right. Because I'm getting you. Oh, let me tell you something right now. You just saved yourself. You just saved yourself a datum. I was just about to hang up on you. Because you don't know anything about basketball if you had denied that. Okay, if LeBron James went to Golden State, he wouldn't go to the finals.
Oh, definitely.
All right, if LeBron James was playing with James Harden, he wouldn't have gone in the finals?
Most definitely not. You got the biggest choke artist in the playoffs history in James Harden, okay?
Wait. He choked in a game. He had a bad game after carrying a whole load last year, okay? But if you got LeBron James with James Harden, you don't think they'd had a chance to go to finals?
You say chance, yes. Everybody has a chance with LeBron James. But my point was that he was not going. Not every team would have that same chance. You're picking the great teams right now. I'm stipulating that every other team would not.
Yeah, but come on, man. Don't be ignorant. See, that's kind of stuff. That kind of nonsense make me want to hang up on you. You think I think LeBron would go to the finals if he was playing in Orlando? Or if he was playing with the New York Knicks without Melo? Come on, you know what we're saying. Stop being so damn literal. You know that.
All right, you got me on that one. All right. First, that was the first point. Second point, the whole biggest thing that I have the issue with is that nobody's bringing up that that anybody in the world these days, because of how the disciplinary things are going on, anybody in the world can stipulate that, hey, this NFL guy domestically abused me. This NFL guy sexually abused me without really having sufficient evidence or stipulating, or even getting charged. They would
Stop right there. Stop right there. You know why your point don't matter, Markel?
Because of the CBA.
Blame the Players Association. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's not about the – listen, man, we sat there and looked at certain situations and be like, wait a minute, there's a lot of questions here. We sat up there and said, Tom Brady, you really think we care about deflated footballs? Don't suspend this man for 4 games. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. Let me ask you a question. Don't you think there's a huge discrepancy between deflated footballs and domestic violence? Would you say that, Markel?
An extreme discrepancy.
Right? Yet Tom Brady got 4 games, and they trying to give Ezekiel 6. Don't you think domestic violence is worth more than 2 extra games of a suspension?
Most definitely. He should be out for the season.
So while we're complaining about the Ezekiel Elliott situation and how they're being holes, let's keep in mind that Tom Brady got 4 for deflated footballs. So what's the bigger reason to complain? I can make the argument that there's a bigger reason to complain about Tom Brady and the 4 games he got rather than for Ezekiel Elliott and them trying to give him the 6 games, because that's domestic violence. This is deflated footballs.
Right. My whole problem is that why can't we, as the people, highlight the fact that anybody can.
Of course we highlight it. We already highlight it. I got to run the commercial, but I appreciate the call. Of course we highlight it. It doesn't matter because we don't have the power. Goodell does. The NFL does because the Players Association gave it to them.
Catch the Stephen A. Smith Show live on 98.7 ESPN New York, ESPN LA 710, and Sirius XM Channel 80.
You just can't make this stuff up.
Weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show. Before we get on out of here, let's get back to the phones real quick. Make your points succinct and quick. Don't do it. I will make you. Marty in L.A., you're live with Stephen A. Go.
Hey, Stephen. I think everybody is pointing fingers and nobody's looking at themselves and saying, am I sincere about the cause? Because if you are, you'll look up Justice Alan Page, who was right in the middle of civil rights.
Formerly of the Minnesota Vikings that became a judge?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
He's got the solution. Get an education. It's about position, and it's about position and possession. And when we put ourselves in a position and possession of education, we have a chance to win.
Call me back. Call me back when we have time to discuss that, because you're not wrong. I just don't think it addresses the immediacy of the problem. Like, for example, if somebody didn't handle their business on that level, okay, how does that change things for them tomorrow? Yeah, they can plan accordingly. They can correct their errors, their misjudgments, etc. But what does that do for them immediately? That's one of the reasons we have problems in our society, because sometimes people need things addressed immediately and they can't be addressed for whatever reason. But I appreciate the call, and you're not wrong about that. Michael, you're live at Stephen A. Go ahead real quick.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I think that the Lakers got it wrong with Lonzo Ball. I was more in favor of Magic and Rob Pelinka trading up to get Markelle Fultz at number 1. I think he would have been a better selection. I think he's got more upside? I just want to get your take, Stephen A.
I don't know about that. I don't know if Markelle Fultz was the answer. You might have needed to take Josh Jackson, Dennis Smith Jr., this kid, Donovan Mitchell at Utah is nice. I've seen him. It might have been that. That might have been the way to go. I'm not sure if Markelle Fultz was the answer. Hey, to me, what about De'Aaron Fox, who gave it to Lonzo during the NCAA tournament? Dropped 39 on him. What about that selection? That's what I would look at. Those are the kind of things I would pay attention to before I go the other route. But I get where you're coming from. But thank you so much for the call. Let's go to Kevin in Long Island. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Kevin?
Big fan, Stephen. It's a question. We all know the Knicks is bad. We all know how they play. But what you think about Porzingis' 31 and 12 rebounds?
Well, he had 31 and 12. He was the number one option. Listen, he wasn't bad. He was relatively impressive. But nevertheless, it just speaks to what a reclamation project the New York Knicks are partaking now, because he just doesn't have enough help. It's really a damn shame. But I appreciate the call, man. Ronnie, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Ronnie, go ahead.
Hey, Stephen. I'm not turning it into a black and white thing, but I'm in Cleveland, and we've had two black coaches, and they can't get the job done. What is it, man? What is going on, Stephen?
Well, here's the bottom line. You don't have enough talent, but I'm gonna be totally fair to you. It's not a black and white thing, but guess what? It's not a black and white thing. You have every right, Ronnie, to sit up there and say you don't want to hear the black or the white or anything like that. Damn it, you just want a great coach. Because when you're losing game after game, week after week, year after year, and you've been a model of ineptitude, you have a right to demand that you have a better product than what you're seeing regardless of who the coach is. And when I'm looking at Cleveland, you ain't been in the playoffs since 2002. All right, you won the last 3 years. You were 3-13, 1-15, and now you're 0-6. All right, but I would remind you that when you were 3-13, Pettin was a coach and he was white. So it ain't white or black. You just need somebody in there that can get you better talent, and you need a coach in there, you know what, that can get the job done. I love me some Hugh Jackson, but damn, you're 1-21 now. It's pretty bad. Have a wonderful weekend. Holla at y'all Monday. Peace and love.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.